Dhanbad in Jharkhand. I have completed my BTech MTech dual degree in Electronics and Telecommunication Engineering from Indian Institute of Engineering Science and Technology. After that, I was working at Capgemini for around 9 months as senior analyst in software testing. After that, I've started pursuing my master's in sociology from IGNOU, and currently I was preparing for regulatory bodies.
Okay, okay. So you are preparing for sociology right now.
I was doing my master's in sociology, sir. It is about to end this December.
Okay, why? Any specific reason?
So I was preparing for UPSC, and I also had an inclination towards social issues and all. And sociology was my optional there. So I thought to pursue it, and I'll have a good sound base in that also. That is why I started pursuing it from IGNOU along with my preparation.
So you are still preparing for UPSC?
No, sir, I have left it.
You left the UPSC. Okay.
Yes.
Fine. So you were working in which company?
I was working with Capgemini.
Capgemini. What was your
Yes.
role?
So I was software tester. My profile was senior analyst. I was software analyst there.
Okay. So why you left your job?
So the main reason was the kind of job. I did not appreciate that job that much as per my personality. I had a repetitive work, kind of monotony was there. I had to sit in front of the computer the whole day. So I was working, looking for a certain dynamic role. For example, a kind of role that attracts me for different kinds of role. I get opportunity to do different things and kind of dynamism along with a work-life balance. So those things were missing. The role was quite monotony. So I did not appreciate that thing as per my personality.
Okay, okay, fine. Yes, Manish sir.
OP sir, you start with.
Yeah. Welcome, Mr. Amit.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. And you said that your previous job was not to your satisfaction.
Yes.
What do you expect from RBI?
The most important thing that I expect from RBI is growth in a career, and that an environment that provides me the opportunity to learn, and not only academically but also in other aspects. For example, new kind of work, dynamism. Apart from that, I do want a good salary coming from a humble background. I do need to support my family financially, so I'm looking for that also. So in those aspects, I think RBI is a complete package based on my experiences, based on my education. So I think I'll also be an asset to the organization, as well as the organization is the best fit for me.
Do you know the hierarchy in RBI?
Yes, sir, I have got certain idea about it.
Can you name some designations?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. First it is assistant manager, then manager, then assistant general manager, then deputy general manager, then general manager, then chief general manager. I am not exactly aware after that.
Okay, okay. Now you have done technical academic background.
Yes, sir.
You are from the technical background, engineering background.
Yes, sir.
But Reserve Bank deals with mainly with economics, finance. How it will be
Yes, sir.
suiting?
Sir, the background that I had, especially in electronic communication, and especially my master's which I did in machine learning, I think that is very much handy in Reserve Bank, because with the evolution of technology, the government and the RBI both have been increasingly adopting technology, whether it comes to financial inclusion or regulatory sandbox or fintech sector or the regulatory compliances. I think machine learning and technology is playing its role in finance and economic sector as well. So I think there my experience and my education can be used to a great extent.
If you are intending to join RBI,
Yes, sir.
after doing your technical qualification, you joined some sociology classes. No?
Yes, sir.
Instead of that, had you gone for economics, that could have helped you much better in progression.
Yes, sir. But as long as economics is concerned, sir, earlier I was not that too handy with economics. That is the reason I did not take economics as my optional. And that is also the reason why I did not apply for DPR or other exams. I chose the generalist scheme, because I think in the generalist sector, we do not need that much specific knowledge of economics as we need for specific sectors. So I am good with economics. I like to study it, but I was not that good that I can choose economic specific stream.
Okay. But can you tell me something about fintech companies?
Yes, sir. These are the companies that merge the technology with the financial sector. For example, we have loan apps that give digital loans. like they give loans and the process the application digitally. So the companies that use technology for the purpose of finances, whether it is for financial inclusion or to give credits or to do other stuff, those companies are mainly called as fintech companies.
Financial inclusion
Yes, sir.
is assuming a lot of importance.
Yes, sir.
What is the reason for that?
So there are some supply side reasons and some demand side reasons. The supply side reason is because financial institutions do give us an opportunity to get credit from standard institutions that give us the loans at better rates. There is a regulatory mechanism to ensure that the person who is seeking the loan is not exploited. And the supply side reason is the history that we have had in terms of financial inclusion because of a lot of dominance of zamindars and all, where they used to give informal loans. There were a lot of exploitation both in terms of the interest rates and in terms of getting back that money. They used to exploit the people. So I think that those are the main reasons behind adoption of financial inclusion at the topmost priority of the government. Along with that, it does give the opportunity to promote the inclusive development, which is the fundamental aspect that our constitution focuses on.
Which department of RBI handles financial inclusion related issues?
I'm not sure of that. I'll have to read about it.
Have you gone through the annual report of RBI?
So I did not see it recently, but I did read it for phase 2. I'll have to read it again.
Any other publication of RBI? Have you gone through?
I haven't gone through recently, sir. I was reading it.
Okay. Do you know what is primary deficit?
Yes, sir. It is the fiscal deficit when we subtract the interest rates that were due for previous loans. That comes out to be the primary deficit.
Why this technical terms is evolved?
Sir, it was mainly to figure out that what are the liabilities that we are incurring in a particular year when we are calculating the GDP, keeping aside the interest that were due to the loans that were taken in previous year. So that gives us a better figure in terms of the current year liabilities that the government have.
Okay. Just my last question to you for the time being. In your opinion,
yes, sir.
A grade B officer
yes, sir.
Will be handling which type of duties?
Sir, as far as the profile I could get the knowledge from the internet, I saw that there were certain things where we had to work with currency management and the transfer of currencies from the printing reserves to reserves of RBI. Apart from there were some roles where we had to work as auditors. Inspectors, those who go for inspection in Reserve Bank, the other banks to check the compliances. These were the roles which I could get.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Manish, sir, please go ahead.
Yes. So Amit, do you read newspaper?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So there was a recent activity like US election. I hope you have gone through that one. So what do you see? What will be India's and US relation post this election result? What is your opinion? And you can relate with the past as well.
Yes, sir. I think India will be benefiting from the election results. As far as Mr. Donald Trump is concerned, the relations of India in his past term before Joe Biden, that was also a very good term for India. Although we had certain issues in terms of tariff, there were some issues back then also, and there are apprehensions of such issues now also. But I think majorly will be benefiting because he has a priority to deal with China first, which is also the biggest count of tension for India also. Like India is also struggling with the issues of China, such as Belt and Road Initiative and the rising power of China, especially against India. So Mr. Donald Trump is much focused on China as compared to Russia. That will be one good thing. In economic aspects also, India and US are going to sign multiple treaties, as was said by Donald Trump also in his electoral campaign. So I think that will also be benefited. Apart from that, he is promoting the idea of China plus one strategy. I think India will be benefiting from that also because there will be companies coming here. For example, Apple recently announced the investment of 2 or 3 billion. I do not remember the exact data, sir, but a certain amount of money investing more in India. So these are the things which I think India will be benefiting from.
Okay. Okay, one more question around the like what do you see, like what are the key challenges which Indian regulators are majorly facing in this economy? So about the financial regulators, including RBI itself.
So I think the main regulation is of the growth of parallel economy that runs on cash. I think that is the biggest challenge that we have as of now. That is also repeatedly focused by our honorable finance minister. And second thing is the thing that the repo rate or the liquidity additional facility that RBI deals with is not the primary source of money for the banks. The banks mainly earn from deposits. So there is lack of effective monetary transmission, as also highlighted by multiple honorable governors of RBI. So I think these two are the major things that financial regulators face as of now in India.
Anything apart from RBI?
Yes, sir. In SEBI and in IRDA also, we say, for example, in SEBI, we see that there is increasing adoption of interest in stock markets. We see the growth of retail investors, especially after COVID-19, and growth of the apps that provide us readily demat accounts. So that becomes a challenge for SEBI because it needs a lot of more regulatory work to be done. And there are growth of influencers which are not regulated, and they keep they give advices on YouTube and other platforms, which has become a challenge for SEBI. Same goes for IRDI. The main issues with them is the low insurance penetration in India. So likewise, we can see these are the major challenges with financial regulators.
Okay, so like how we calculate this penetration? You mentioned about the insurance penetration.
It is the total premium that we collected by GDP India.
Okay. Madhav sir?
Amit, you mentioned a term repo rate.
Yes, sir.
How repo rate is, I would say, how is the penetration of repo rate in order to control inflation?
Please, I could not get it.
When we talk about repo rate, it is one of the instruments to control the inflation rates. If I say, according to you, what is the penetration level of repo rate these days? How well repo rate is able to control the inflation rates?
So I do not remember the exact number, but I think we are doing good. Like as also highlighted by Honorable Governor of RBI, that we have been doing good, and it is continuously increasing in terms of the number that we are penetrating more and more. But I think there are challenges when it comes to the desired wish of the Reserve Bank of India, because as highlighted earlier, that Honorable Governor said in one of his speeches that we try to not to put a regulatory burden on the banks, and that is what is leveraged by the banks, and they do not follow it to the letter and spirit. There is certain amount of penetration, and that is being complied to a great extent. But when it comes to the desired level, I think they are not reaching there. So that is my take on that.
Okay. What other instruments you are aware of which RBI use in order to control inflation rates?
Sir, I think one is open market operations, where RBI sells these bonds and securities in open markets. That is one thing we can. Yes, sir. Apart from that, there are some qualitative tools. For example, the moral pressure that RBI puts, or the direct action that RBI takes. Apart from that, there are priority sector lending which RBI take to control the credit in certain sectors.
Okay. And what about CRR, SLR?
Yes, the CRR, SLR.
Okay. According to you, if RBI wants to control the inflation rates,
yes, sir.
RBI should change CRR or SLR? What should be RBI's call?
So I think both will have the same kind of effect, as long as the controlling of inflation is concerned, because both will make the bank to save, keep the reserves with them or with RBI, but not to supply the money in the market. So if we see in terms of inflation, I think both would work the same way.
Okay.
Although banks' earning will be affected because CRR doesn't pay interest and SLR pays interest, but as far as supply currency in the economy is concerned, both will yield the same result, almost similar results.
Okay. So after the latest Lok Sabha election, government presented its budget. Could you mention some of the initiatives taken by government related to the financial sector?
Right. I do not remember exactly. I'll have to look.
Okay. Last question from my side for the time being. What is the difference between fiscal deficit and primary deficit?
The primary deficit comes out when we subtract the interest pending for the previous loans from the fiscal deficit figure. The interest that were due for the loans that were taken in previous or prior to that year, this fiscal year. when we
What
get
is
timely
fiscal
deficit.
deficit then?
Please come again, sir. I couldn't.
What is fiscal deficit?
Fiscal deficit is the budget deficit plus the borrowings that the government is taking in a particular year.
Okay. So, over to you, Pushpak sir.
Yes. Amit ji, do you know about BRICS currency?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So can you tell me what will be the benefits of BRICS currency to Indian economy and some drawbacks regarding that?
So the biggest benefit that we see as of now from BRICS currency is the de-dollarization. Like the dollar has emerged as one of the volatility factor that makes the rupee volatile. And Honorable Finance Minister has also been talking about the imported inflation. I think that will be kept in check. Second is the hegemony of the Western nations and the institutions such as World Bank and IMF that they have been playing that role. That will be kept in check. Thirdly, a kind of moral pressure will be there on the Western government that they cannot do as they and when they want. For example, the Honorable External Affairs Minister also said that Europe consider their problem to be our problem and our problem to not to be their problem. So it's the same way. I think that will be checked when BRICS currency come in play. The apprehension that we have right now is the growing role of China in that, of course, because China is the biggest economy when it comes to BRICS. So they will certainly have the bigger share. For example, when we see about new development bank or we see about other institutions where China is leading, so being a bigger economy, they do have greater share. So I think in BRICS currency also they will try to have the bigger share. That will be an apprehension for India as a whole.
But don't you think it will create a problem for us with when it comes to USA? We are having surplus with USA right now, but by following the BRICS currency, USA can go against us.
Yes, sir, that is definitely an apprehension. In fact, Mr. Donald Trump also made an electoral promise that all the countries that are going towards de-dollarization will be penalized with penalty or something when he comes to power. So that will certainly be an issue. But I think Indian foreign policy is mature enough now to handle both the Western and the Eastern sector. And we are, like as also mentioned by our Honorable External Affairs Minister, that even when BRICS currency come into play, we are in a good position to bargain with US in terms of not being penalized. For example, we did the same for S-400, where every other country was penalized except India. So I think our foreign policy is much more mature and we have a good understanding with US as far as these issues are concerned.
Okay. Do you know about local currency agreements which we are signing right now with few countries? Like recently we signed with Maldives also, local currency agreement. So
yes.
How it is impactful?
Sir, those are the agreements where we try to counter the balance of payment crisis, either for us or for them. Majorly it is for them, where they can use certain amount of reserve at a pre-decided rate from our reserves. So I think that is a very good issue, very good effort we are making in various aspects. For example, economically we are helping them, and it has also emerged as a kind of foreign policy tool where the countries are engaging. And the same way India, after having a backlash of recent issue with the current government of Maldives, I think these helps will certainly improve the image of India. And second thing that we can see from these issues is when we tackle the economic issue, when we sign these kind of agreements, this also reduces the apprehensions of China intervening in the economy of the countries neighboring India, because China has a policy of trade diplomacy. So if they are not getting reserves from somewhere, they will go to a country that gives them loan, and certainly it will be China only. So that also raises an apprehension of we are being surrounded by the Chinese strategy. So I think these agreements are helping us counter that also. So there are various benefits that I think we can derive out of this.
Okay. So we also signed currency swap agreement with few countries, and we are also signing local currency agreement. So what is the difference between these two?
So I do not know the exact figure, but I have a rough idea about it. May I say that?
Yes.
Sir, currency swap agreement is when we sign an agreement where we allow each other to use the reserves in terms of balance of payment crisis. They can use the reserves from each other's like monetary reserve, whatever is there, forex reserve. And local currency agreement is when we decide to trade in using the local currency and not using the dollar or a standard currency that we have.
Okay. I want to ask you one recent question. Recently, RBI Deputy Governor listed out some emerging risks, especially for Indian economy. Can you tell me a few of them? Emerging risks.
I didn't. I can tell you general risks, but I did not hear that speech. I did not follow that speech.
You can try.
Sir, the main risk as of now I can see in financial market is the cyber fraud that is happening, because it is not only an economic aspect, but it is also a social aspect, where the people are becoming apprehensive of using financial technology. especially when it comes to elderly people. They are quite apprehensive because of this fraud. So it has become more of a social issue than of an economic issue. Second issue which I find is the regulatory compliances. We see emergence of various apps like Honorable Governor and the RBI notices also time and again verify this, that there are emerging apps like fintech apps that give certain short-term loans or other things. They are not regulated. I think that is the second issue that I see in financial sector. Third is the increasing volatility because of international in international context we have, or international like kind of alignment we have. So we are not an isolated economy. So that is also an issue. For example, the recent Fed tapering that was happening. Fourth issue I see as of now is the apprehensions that we see, the political instability we see. For example, Russia-Ukraine war. Now we see Israel-Hamas war, and just yesterday we got a news that a new war is starting in Syria. It is just the news of yesterday. So these things are also becoming a challenge for financial sector in India.
Okay, I want to ask the last question. Do you know about credit deposit ratio?
Please come again, sir. I could not follow.
Credit deposit ratio.
I do not know the exact term.
Okay, fine. Yes, officer.
Yeah, Mr. Amit, you are doing well.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. And the question is that along with banks, we also hear about NBFCs.
Yes, sir.
Non-bank finance companies.
Yes, sir.
What they are, and what is their relevance, and what is the RBI concern about NBFCs?
Sir, non-banking financial companies are those companies that work in the financial sector, but they are not banks because they are not primarily involved in credit taking and credit giving. They do have the purpose of giving the credit, but they are not taking the credit from the general public because they are not allowed to take time deposits and all. There are some companies which are allowed to take certain time deposits, but the majorly they are not for taking deposits from the general public. Their role in economy is giving credit, especially for big projects, for example, the infrastructure projects, etc. And RBI's apprehension about them is the regulatory issues. Like they were earlier not that well regulated as in terms as compared to the normal banks. Apart from that, they also have an issue where they have an asset liability mismatch, and that gives a problem of they get chances of being failure like rising a lot. But I think recently the Reserve Bank of India has taken various steps. For example, the recent compliance norm that has come, they have segregated the NBFCs in various categories based on the risk factor and the size of the NBFC. So I think we are doing good in this aspect, and very soon, like they will also be much regulated and much secure in that aspect.
Okay. When we read Reserve Bank reports or newspaper report, we come across two terms: headline inflation and core inflation.
Yes, sir.
What they are and how they are different?
So core inflation is the inflation when we take out the food inflation and the fuel inflation. But because these two are very volatile, they change the inflation figures a lot. But when we add them and they become the headline of the newspaper, then we call it a headline inflation. So just because of the volatility of the food inflation and the fuel prices that are highly volatile, when we consider them, it becomes headline inflation. Apart from that, it is called core inflation.
My last question to you: in your opinion, what are the emerging sectors in the economy?
So the emerging sector, I think, is the artificial intelligence, because it is being increasingly adopted in all the sectors, whether it is finance or political or any other aspect. So artificial intelligence.
It is not a sector.
In terms of sector, may I take a minute? I think.
Sure. What about green energy?
Yes, sir. Green energy. Energy. Huh? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Energy.
Semiconductors.
Semiconductor industry. Yes, sir. Defense industry is also developing in India.
Fine. Thank you. Thank you from my side. Yeah.
Thank you,
Mahesh.
Madhu sir, you have any question? Because I'm done.
Amit, when we
Yes,
talk
sir.
about financial sector,
yes, sir.
According to you, what is the importance of financial sector for an economy?
Sir, I think if we consider Indian democracy as a contract between the citizen and the government, then finance sector is the glue that binds it together. The taxation system and the credit system that we have is all that forms the basis of the government and the citizens relation, because it is this finance sector and the regulation of this that builds that trust for all other sectors, whether it is manufacturing sector or services sector or even agriculture sector. They are all based on the finance, and the confidence that a citizen have on this finance sector drives all other sectors. And when it comes specifically to the role of finance sector, I think if the finance sector of a country is regulated well enough, all of the sectors will fall in place, because the main issue in every sector is the finance. If we are providing good credits, all other sectors will prosper, and vice versa. For example, we often hear about the issues with MSME where they are not able to get good finances. So that is an example that a good finance sector drives out the entire nation, and vice versa.
Okay. Recently, there was a news on RRB merger.
Yes, sir.
According to you, what is the reason government is talking about merger of RRBs? Beside that, they were not profit making. What other reason would you mention?
So the main reason which I could find was the regulatory issues. Like there were a lot of spread, but the work was not that effective. And apart from that, the operational expenses were quite high in terms of, as you mentioned, that the profit was not good. So I think because of that, the merger was being asked upon that will be merged, and the benefit of that will be that there will be increasing number of branches, greater penetration, and kind of centralized regulation that will help. Apart from that, that will also help them make more profit and rationalize upon the expenses. And I think these are the major things which I can recall as of now.
You mentioned better penetration.
Yes,
but RRBs, they can operate only in one state.
Yes,
so
sir.
what do you mean by the term better penetration?
So better penetration, I mean that do they have the reach to the last mile or not? Like every person who should be a beneficiary of that is actually a beneficiary of that or not? Because we often see that there are presence of banks or like any other banks in a certain ratio, but it is only limited to a certain sector. Either it is affluent sector or some other sector. But whether every citizen who should be a beneficiary of that is actually a benefit of that or not is what is meant by penetration.
Who is the regulator of RRB? RBI or NABARD?
So I think the prime regulator is NABARD, but I'm not sure. We'll see.
Last question from my side.
Yes.
Whenever we talk about RRBs, recently there was a news regarding capitalization, that RRBs, they can raise capital from the market.
Yes, sir.
Are you aware of this scenario and what was its impact?
Sir, I'm aware about capitalization in general, but not about RRB specifically.
Okay. Thank you. That will be all from my side.
Thank you, sir.
I guess done, sir, OP sir, Mahesh sir?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so thank you, Amit. So now
Thank you, sir.
providing you the feedback. So
Yes, sir.
obviously we'll start with OP sir, and consequently we will be giving all the feedbacks. Please, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Amit, when is your interview?
The day after tomorrow, on 3rd.
Okay, time is less now.
Yes.
Anyway, you have done well. I think, in my opinion, you are quite good in economics area.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Okay. But now coming to, as you are going for Reserve Bank,
Yes, sir.
Grade B officer, so what is expected whenever you are going for one interview in an institution, you are expected to know about that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that shows your preparedness.
Yes, sir.
Okay, but see, there are some important publication of Reserve Bank.
Yes.
Say balance sheet, annual report, that we call it annual report of RBI. Report on currency and finance.
Yes.
Okay, there are very important documents are there. So when my question on balance sheet came, you said I have not looked into that annual report. I have not seen. So अभी टाइम आपके पास कम है, लेकिन
Yes, sir.
एक बार उसको आपको मतलब ग्लास थ्रू करना जरूरी है.
बिल्कुल. I'll do it
Okay.
now only, sir.
एनुअल रिपोर्ट क्या है कैसे ऑर्गेनाइज किया है, उसमें कुछ important, because once you say about department, when you talk about department, your expectation, then you need to know some broad functioning of some departments. Okay, and question may be asked sometimes that if you are selected, which department you would like to work? At least
Yes.
one or two department you should read in the
Yes.
annual report.
Sure, sir.
Say,
I will do it now
financial
only.
inclusion department is very important.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
and the organization of chapter in the annual report is what is the major function of the department, what they have done recently, what were the
Yes.
targets last year, what is the achievement against that target, what are the targets for future next year.
Yes. Yes.
And in every para they talk about Utkarsh 2. What is Utkarsh and what is Utkarsh 2? You need to know about that. It is a medium term strategy of RBI.
Yes.
Okay, first was from 2019 to 22. Now second is 22 to 25.
Yes.
Okay, so go through that annual report, and then you will, at the end there is a balance sheet of Reserve Bank. Broad thing that what is the total of balance sheet of RBI? What is the increase compared to last year? What is the largest item in that? But these three things you need to know about.
Sure, sir. I will read it now only.
Okay, because time is not much with you. Then hierarchy of Reserve Bank. Say up to F grade A, B, C, D, E, F. That is a officer cadre. Then
Yes.
executive director, deputy governor, governor. These three things are you could not tell. Okay, so hierarchy is here. Then on NBFC, you were a total mix-up. NBFCs are quite well regulated by RBI. There are broadly two types of NBFC. One who can take deposit, another who cannot take deposit.
Yes. Sir.
Okay, then there are some subcategory are there. That is not a big issue. Okay, they
Yes.
are being regulated. Now, what was the concern recently? Reserve Bank has found that some of the NBFC are charging very high interest rate on low. Okay, and for the RBI criteria that whatever is your average cost of funds and whatever you are charging, that difference should not be beyond that level. But in some of the NBFC, that difference was very high. So Reserve Bank has cautioned that this should stop. Otherwise, Reserve Bank is undertaking inspection. There is a well laid down regulations are there, but still improvement can be made on that. Okay, so that was another area, and I think otherwise your tone, voice, your way of replying, your contact, I think to my knowledge, it's quite good one. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Only that you are a little bit in a hurry to reply. And when you start replying, you are in a hurry to reply. Don't be in a hurry. Be at a little calm. Okay, that will help you. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you,
for
sir.
you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes. Mr. Madhav?
You're mute, sir.
Okay. So, Amit, as officer has already mentioned about the pace, which we earlier pointed out, it was
Yes, sir.
better comparison
Yes,
to the
sir.
last.
I was like noticing that thing, sir, every time, but I used to forget. Was trying to control it.
It's okay. जितना हो सके उतना कर लीजिए before the
Yes,
interview.
sir, trying.
Secondly, what I have observed today, when we come to the current affairs wala section,
Yes.
in that you are pretty comfortable. But the moment we enter into core banking, things are still in a situation where I would not say that you are aware of all the concepts. But the point is, you have your interview in a day or two. What you can
Yes.
do is at least go through with the RBI functions, RBI operations thoroughly. There is a PDF available on the RBI website itself. regarding the RBI functions and operations. Just read that PDF when you will be traveling for your interview. That would be more than enough. What we can do right now, that is it.
Yes.
Obviously, major questions are going to be finance-based, but related to the current affairs, where you can answer, you can come up with the answers pretty well. But the core areas, when it comes to
Static portion, sir.
conceptual knowledge, especially related to finance segment or banking segment, that is bit, I feel it's weak, but it's okay. It's okay. You cannot be mastering each and every area. What you can do is at least you should be well covering the RBI functions. One is the report which sir has already mentioned, and the other one is the working and functions of RBI. That would be more than enough. Rest pretty well. Try to avoid UPSC as much as you can. Today also you came up with that. You are
I thought not to tell, sir, but I have to tell it. I cannot hide it. That is the thing. I have to tell somewhere.
Sociology, or you have done that sociology wala part. You have mentioned it.
Yes, masters. I think I have not mentioned, sir. I don't remember.
If you have not mentioned, then why you need to come up with that answer? You don't mention that you have completed your masters or you're pursuing your master. You completed your graduation, then you work. After working, you realize that you want to move into a new segment. A new segment was banking sector, so you are preparing for RBI and other regulatory body exams. If you want to get the answer regarding,
if they specifically ask that, are you preparing for UPSC?
No, sir. Who is going to catch you? If you have not mentioned about your sociology, otherwise you need to come up with that answer. So that you must be aware of. You should go with that form which you have filled. If you have mentioned about your masters, then you have to come up with this answer. Otherwise, you can ignore it. Straightforward. And 2 years gap is not a much gap when you are coming for an interview like RBI, where you have already cleared NABARD mains in the past. So you can try your 2 years pretty well in the same segment itself.
Sure.
The moment you say UPSC, they will be asking you more questions regarding UPSC, and they will be having a pinch of doubt that you may not continue after joining, because you have that age, you have those attempts left. That is going to be a challenge. So let's ignore it. What I suggest.
Sure, sir.
Will be all from my side. Over to Pushpak sir.
Yes, Amit, today's interview is a bit better than the last time. So current affairs, yes, you are really good. Just my one feedback is that don't stretch your answers. Like sometimes while explaining things, you are stretching your answers a lot, and then the things are going very wrong actually. I try to avoid grill you, but easily anyone can grill you because you're stretching your answers a lot and they're actually going in a different directions. So I will suggest you limit your answers, and like O.P. Agrawal sir mentioned that you are very much in a hurry. Last time also I asked you the same thing.
So I tried to control it to a great extent myself.
Because sometimes we were not able to understand what you want to say. So this can happen, and this will be kind of a very bad thing. Okay. When it comes to, I asked you about the emerging challenges because they are very much in news. RBI governor, various deputy governors, everyone is talking about that. So they mentioned about 3 challenges basically. One is about emerging technology, which you have mentioned. Another is the climate change, which is discussed a lot when it comes to Indian economy because we are facing troubles with food inflation these days. And third is OP sir asked you about that regarding over-reliance on NBFCs. Our economy is very much depending on NBFCs. That is an emerging challenge we have. So discussions can go in that direction. You are good with those things. So my suggestion is that please elaborate only 3 things. Don't stress your answer. Okay. One is regarding Mahesh sir asked you about the US relations with India, right?
Yeah.
You discuss about the Joe Biden administration and the Trump administration. Remember one thing with Joe Biden administration, we are in surplus right now. The only country and the biggest surplus is with USA. Earlier with the Trump administration, we were in deficit and there were so many tariffs. So that discussion is still going on and everyone is talking about that. That's why I asked you about the BRICS currency because Trump administration said that they're going to put the tariff on the BRICS currency and the users of. So वो थोड़ा सा दोनों आंसर्स आपके एक दूसरे के अगेंस्ट जा रहे थे तो वो थोड़ा सा ध्यान रखें.
Okay, sir. Sure,
That's all from my side. Otherwise, it's good. Keep it up, and all the best.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
So Amit, like लास्ट टाइम से काफी अच्छा है और I'll say कि थोड़ा सा ना आपको कंसाइज होने की जरूरत है अपने आंसर्स में, ठीक है? बहुत लेंथी आंसर्स हैं, like you do not have that 1 hour or half an hour and all. You'll get around 15 to 20 minutes only. ये हम लोग आपके साथ डिस्कशन करें, your interview will not that lengthy in that one ना. So जितना आप to the point बोलेंगे ना, like जैसे there is a question and you answer that one. If I understood, so I do not need that 10-line story or 50-line story and all. जितना कंसाइज कर सकेंगे उतना अच्छा रहेगा. बाकी माधव सर वाला पॉइंट दैट मास्टर इन सोशियोलॉजी, तो आई विल आल्सो रिकमेंड दैट थिंग्स. अगर आपने फिल नहीं किया है, कंप्लीटली इग्नोर दैट वन, बिकॉज आंसर से ही पता चल रहा है कि आप यूपीएससी की प्रिपरेशन करें. जिस तरीके से आप आंसर्स कर रहे हो ना, वो आंसर्स में भी रिफ्लेक्ट हो रहा है आपका कि लाइक एक यूपीएससी स्टूडेंट क्या होता है ना, वो बहुत ज्यादा पर्सनल हो जाता है टॉपिक के साथ. तो दैट इज, अगर आप स्टार्टिंग से उसको अवॉइड करेंगे तो वो कहीं ना कहीं काइंड ऑफ हालो इफेक्ट नहीं होगा, वो जजमेंट नहीं करेंगे आपके बारे में उस रिगार्डिंग. Baki, I'll say ki listen first, like listen their question carefully, take a pause of 2 to 3 seconds, process that question, then answer. ठीक है, वो थोड़ा सा आप करोगे तो बहुत ज्यादा हेल्पफुल रहेगा. बाकी बस और तो सब बढ़िया है, अब ज्यादा टेंशन नहीं लेना है मेरे हिसाब से.
Thank you, sir.
So I guess this is it. Madhav sir, OP sir, anything, Pushpak sir? All the best. Amit,
Thank you, sir.
Do share your feedback also with us. Just
Sure,
after
sure, sir.
it will help us like to guide other candidates as well.
If you have any question, you can ask. If you have.
Sir, I had that question only, that like till now I could not prepare much because I got the joining letter for another exam, ICAR Administrative Officer exam that happened, ASRB AO exam. And I was busy with the medical, so I could not prepare much. Since yesterday only I got the time to prepare. So I've covered the RBI part. I was doing it now also. So I think by today I'll be finishing with everything related to RBI, which Madhav sir also pointed out and you also pointed out. So that thing will be done from my side.
Because that will give the reflection that you are really interested. Okay,
yes.
They may ask, may not ask, but at least
yes, sir.
when you are going,
confidence भी आता है सर थोड़ा.
भाई दूल्हा जब शादी में जाता है ना, तो थोड़ा बहुत तो उसको सज के जाना पड़ता है.
Yes, sir. Right. Yes, sir. I'll be doing it today only, sir. I'll be finishing it today only. और सर एक चीज और पूछनी थी सर. Sir, एक चीज और पूछनी थी. Do I need to prepare in detail about my graduation subject like electronics and all? How much depth is needed?
See, to begin with and to make you comfortable, normally they start with your academic background. They will 1 or 2 small questions. Okay, what will be the use of your academic qualification to RBI? Okay, then they may ask that electronic, why, what are the major project you have done?
Yes.
Suppose 1 or 2 projects you must have done. They may ask a brief of that. They don't have much time on that. But at least just to make comfortable, because you are at home with that subject.
Yes, sir.
But don't read now about that. Forget about that.
So we don't need to go into the technical details, sir.
No. They don't. If they start going in technical details, then you take it, they are not interested in you. I can tell you. Means they will be coming to banking, finance, and general awareness. Okay. So that's it. And another point I will tell you, this time number of vacancies are less.
Yes, sir.
Okay, as compared to past year. When I appeared as a grade B, there were 10 vacancies. There were only 10 vacancies.
Okay, sir.
And I determined that I have to appear for that. And I made it. So not means some of the candidates, they start thinking, vacancy to bahut kam hai, competition bahut hota hai. At that year, when I appeared, 80,000 candidates have appeared. 80,000 for 10 vacancies.
Yes.
So it means, forget about that. It means you go with a clear mind that I am a candidate and I only seek 1 seat in that. That's
yes, sir. Certainly.
Hopefully, things will be better.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, all the best, Amit.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.